Sam.
Peace. What's up, baby? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. I am well.
We waiting on some people to come in. The people
Yeah.
be slow. They be slow coming in. I don't know if it's the time or what.
It's Thursday, the day before
But
Friday. Maybe,
you right.
maybe. Yeah, but you look
You right.
beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
I tried. Hello. Welcome. Welcome in. Okay, we're gonna give it a little time. But how was your day today?
It wasn't a bad day. It was
Okay.
productive. It was productive. Checked pretty much everything I needed to get done off of my to-do list for today. So yeah, just getting through
Okay.
to the weekend. How about you? How was your
I was tired, baby. I had a tired, long day,
day?
but I
Yeah,
got through. So
we
that's
did.
all that matters. We're
Yeah.
going to go ahead and get started because
Okay.
we do have a viewer on here, and I am very intentional about people's time.
Mhm.
So we're going to dive in because we're grateful that she came on time. So, I just wanted just to tell you a little bit about what this platform is first. And then after that, I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself
Okay.
and tell the people who you are and what you do.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, defining beauty with Keisha D. This is the third year of me doing this, and it has evolved into what I now call a safe space for women and men to just appreciate or define the beauty in everything in life. So no matter what we go through, any obstacles, the ups and downs of life, just trying to find the beauty in it and give and have that type of perspective.
Mhm.
And so, me bringing you on here, onto episode 4, the power of optimism. That word is so hard for me to pronounce. I feel like you are the epitome of what that word is. And I told you this before, but I feel like you're the epitome of that word. And it made so much sense for me to bring you on. So I want to allow you to introduce yourself, tell the people who you are.
Wow. Well, thank you for such a lovely introduction. And as I've told you before, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for using your voice, your platform, to just spread positive energy, such beautiful energy out into this world because, as we very well know, that's needed, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you said, say who you are, tell us who you are and what you do, because those things are separate. So many
Yeah.
times people will define themselves by what it is that they do. And I like
Hmm.
to make sure that I make sure that that's a distinction. Um,
Yes.
I'm human, first and
Mhm.
foremost, trying to make the best of this experience that we call life. With the cards that I've been dealt, something uh, that I said to myself that I'm committed to continuously trying to become a higher and a healthier version of myself. I'm committed to doing that for the rest of my days. So that's who I am. I'm human
Okay.
first. Now, what I do a number of things, but professionally, my business, Sam Ross Design, specializes in providing branding, graphic design, and marketing solutions. So yeah, I help build brands from the ground up, or help people rebrand what it is, whether it's corporations. I've worked with corporations. I've worked with entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs, small business owners, and yeah, the list goes on. So yeah, I think yeah, that sums up pretty much. Well, that's a quick cliff notes of who I am
Yeah.
and what I do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Quick question. Are you able to take your AirPods out? The
Oh
audio is a
yes.
little shaky. I think it's due to the AirPods.
Okay. All right. Let me take them out just a second.
Thank you. Let me see if that's
But
better.
now.
Oh, yeah. It was the AirPods.
Okay.
We can hear
Okay.
you loud and clear though. We can hear you loud and
Okay.
clear.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I hope you didn't miss too much of the introduction.
No, we heard you. It just was
Okay,
a little like the clarity was a little off.
cool.
But I want to go by say Sam designed my logo.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love this logo. I don't want to let this logo go, okay? Because you did such an amazing
Well,
job. It captures who I
thank
am.
you.
Very clean.
Thank
And
you.
yes. So, since I've been knowing you, and even just watching you on Instagram, I've saw how positive you are with just like your business, with life. And I just wanted to ask you the question like, I know that that could be very deep, but like just surface level answer. How did you continue to find positive, um, a positive perspective even through the obstacles of business, life, and in your health?
That's a great question, Keisha. And thank you for that as well. What I can say is that I had to learn early on, and of course, I've grown in this, what I'm about to say, as I've gotten older. There are just certain things that we cannot control, right?
Mhm.
But what we can control is our response, and that makes
Yes.
all the difference. So we can plan Andre 3000. We can plan a pretty picnic, but we can't always predict the weather. That's real.
Right.
That's a bar.
Hmm.
Because,
Yes.
we want to hope for the best. We want to hope that things turn out well. But even with that, even if things do turn out well, for instance, I plan out my entire week, like the weekend before the incoming week. I hope I'm making sense. I plan
Yeah.
out the upcoming week. Yeah. Um, but even with me planning things out, because I'm very planned, well thought out and organized, even with that, I know that there are going to be things that are going to come up that I didn't see coming. That's just life. And once I accepted that, like just knowing that there are certain things that are completely out of my control, and just coming to terms with it has really, really helped me remain positive and optimistic, just despite whatever comes up.
Okay. And
Mhm.
I've recently, maybe the last 2 years, gained that same revelation of life is just gonna be life, and there's nothing we can do about the things that happen in life. And so I think that's what kind of helped me with my journey of just becoming optimistic and just seeing life through a different lens as far as like even if my tire I go outside for work and my tire's flat, I would like used to say, man, I'm having such a bad day. Now I'm like, I'm having a bad moment.
Woo, that's
Okay, this does
good. That's
not
so good. That's
calculate
what I was about to say.
the whole
Yeah.
trajectory of my
Yep.
day. And so, even with something very small of changing my mindset of how I look at it, it
Right.
helps me to be able to like just shake things off. Like you said, respond to things different because I understand that there's things in this world that I cannot
That's
control.
right.
And through that, I can find peace knowing that I control how I respond to the things that happen
Right.
around me. And that's all I could control.
That's
And
right.
so even in business, as entrepreneurs, there's a lot of things that we can't control there.
Mhm.
We can't control clients coming to us. Some clients will pay and still not show up. Okay. So that's still things that are out of our control. So within your business, how do you find a way to keep going even when things that like you said go don't go as planned, but how do you keep going? What do you like, what does that look like for yourself? Like what do you tell yourself or like, you know?
So something that I normally or I always something that I often say to myself is stay with it, Sam. You
Hmm.
know, because again, like we just said, things are gonna come up, things are gonna happen, but we just can't stay stuck. We have to keep going.
Yeah.
That's life. We have to keep going because at the end of the day is going to end, and you don't want to look.
Okay.
Shout out to Glow. And you don't
Dark
want to
cloud.
get to the end of the day and think like, wow, I really magnified, right, one moment and I let it take control of my entire day.
Mm,
Something, and as you were just speaking, something that I thought about is that things have the power that we give. As much things have as much power as we give it, as we give
mm,
it. Situations, whatever it is.
that's
If we
good.
blow it up and we decide we want to carry that bag with us all day, we'll have that bag and that monkey on our back all day. Or we can just keep it to that moment where it was, right? So if something happens, again, like you said, a flat tire comes up. Okay, cool. How do I respond to this? What's the next best move? I need to get my tire changed. Are you gonna stand there and just wallow in the fact that your tire is flat, or are you gonna figure out what's the next best step? You can't
Yeah.
stay stuck. Just knowing that you can't stay stuck. You have to keep moving because life is going to keep moving. And time is money, baby. Okay? One thing
Okay.
about it, because guess what? The clock is still ticking, and guess what? It's gonna be time for them bills to roll around again. So we ain't got time to rooty poo and pout. You got to keep it moving. You have to keep it moving. You have to think forward.
I
Every,
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think that's really hard. If I was to be honest,
yeah.
it is a hard thing to learn and a hard thing to practice to keep going because like even with me, somebody asked me a while ago, they was like, how do you stay motivated? And for a while I was like, girl, I don't know how to answer that question. Like, because the
I'm glad.
truth is I do not stay motivated. And so like as I ponder on that question, I realized that being motivated is a choice. Okay. So I choose to be motivated. I am not a motivated person. I choose to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am is a person who gets up every day and decides to grow, decides to keep going. That's who I
Yeah.
am. What I choose to do, that's outside of who I am, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I separated that, it doesn't make me feel bad when I'm not motivated to do something that I know I should do. Right? What it do is that allows me to evaluate what's going on with me. And so I don't run away from how I feel. I go through it. And so the way I go through it is to dissect it. So I break down every feeling that I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if it's I don't want to go to the gym, if I don't want to go to work, I'm like, okay, so why? And then I'm like, okay, well, why don't you want to get up and go to the gym? Because I stayed up all night. Okay. So now I can really like get to the root of what the issue really is that's causing me not to be motivated. And then I work on that, you know? And so I feel like everything that we kind of like go through has a root issue that we have to find and like get to it, and that's the only way we can overcome something. So like even when you say you a planner,
Mm-hmm.
I plan sometimes, but that ain't me, you know. I have to choose to plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
I have to choose to make content and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
you know, it's you it's really a choice and getting to the root of what it is that makes you feel the way you feel, because sometimes like you it's not even big, it's
Right.
small, and once you get to the bottom of it you could be able to keep moving forward, you know.
And let me add this: discipline, in many
Mm,
cases, is the remedy to not always feeling motivated, because
mm.
motivation is a feeling, right?
Yes,
We're not
yes.
gonna we're not gonna wake up every day and feel like doing what it is that we need to do, but we know we need to do. We need to keep in mind our whys. Like, why did I start this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this even a goal? Keep that in mind. Discipline will get you through many days.
Mm-hmm.
We really have to just take hold and hold it real tight. Discipline.
Yeah,
Because again, feelings, you spoke about feelings, not feeling like that's cool. Feelings fluctuate. But guess what? Feelings are not always facts.
yeah.
And we literally cannot allow our lives to be dictated and navigated by how we feel, right? We can't
Yes.
do that. That's why I say you coming up with the plan, stick to it.
Yeah.
Not easy, but that's okay. And you know what, Keisha? One of my affirmations is that I can do hard things. Not
Mm.
everything in life is going to be easy. It shouldn't be. And that's okay. That's okay. We can do hard things. We have to tell ourselves, I can do hard things. Like, there's an obstacle, something comes up. Okay, whatever. I'm not afraid of this. I'm going to figure out what I need to do to get through it, to get over it, to get around it, to move forward. I'm not trying to preach, but I'm feeling this thing.
Hey Sam, look how I'm like looking at you like, yes, that's
Yeah,
it. Like
but no, but for real
literally.
though. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I think that's so good. I think
yeah,
it's so good
yeah,
because I'm just gonna go back to business because I know a
yeah.
lot of people on here have businesses. But I remember in like 2018, I went through this. I guess I felt disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
That was my feeling. I felt disappointed in my efforts and what I was doing with my business. And to be honest, I stayed stuck in that feeling for years,
Yeah.
right? And to where I was paralyzed. I couldn't move forward. I couldn't shake it because I'm like, I thought this was gonna happen and I thought this was gonna happen. And like it wasn't until like last year where I really began to shake that off of me to realize kind of what you were saying. I can do hard things. And for me, the hard thing was getting up and trying again.
Come on.
Because I was like, if it ain't work the first time, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
work. Because I'm such a dreamer. I'm such an all in. So when I put
And I love
all into
it about
it,
you, by the way.
when I put my
Never
all
stop,
into it,
never stop dreaming.
wait, what say it again?
No, I say I love that about you, by the way. Never stop dreaming. I love that about
Thank you. Yeah, so when I put my all into something and it doesn't work out the way I want
you.
it to,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in crumbles. I don't know what to do. And
Yeah.
so like I think that's so good that you said I can do hard things because sometimes those hard things or the past things that you've experienced, let's just say like I said, disappointment
Mm-hmm.
and trying things again, or those hard things is getting over a breakup or getting over a job that you lost, your dream job. But all of those things is like trying again and starting over. And like that is hard. But you can do hard
I
things.
can do
And
hard
so here
things.
I
Do,
am
here.
doing my life.
Yes.
Something I told myself in February I was not gonna
And
do
look
because
on the season
nobody wants to listen
on
to
the season
this. You know what?
finale. Look how you ate that, friend.
Yes.
Look, let me say this too. We just have to remember again, we can do hard things. Everything in life, again, is not meant to be easy. And so many things in life require a process. Everything isn't gonna happen instantly.
Mm-hmm.
But we get up again and again and again and again. And we have to become acclimated with failure.
Yes.
So many people, because you fail doesn't make you a failure. Failure is on the road to success.
Ooh.
You know how many times I started over the gym and my diet, but I knew eventually if I persisted, persistence and patience. That's what I tell people. If you persist and you're patient with yourself, you can get a lot done with those two things in life.
Yes.
And you're patient. Persist, patience.
Ooh, I'm learning
Whoever
both.
all here, what's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining us tonight. I'm not trying to preach y'all, I promise. But that's Keisha asking me these questions. Blank.
I love it. But no, I absolutely love that because, like you said, persistence, and I'll even add this one in here, grace.
Ooh,
You
yeah.
have to have
Please,
grace
please.
because when you're being persistent,
Thank
you're gonna
you.
need grace. You're going to need grace for yourself when you don't want to go to the gym, when you done made that plan. to get up and go to the gym, when you've made that business plan and you said next month I'm gonna start this business, and you don't do it, you gonna need grace. Okay, so add that to, like, your everyday walk as well, like giving yourself grace. But look, me and my friend was talking about this. Like, sometimes we give ourselves too much grace, because we'll be like, "Oh, you ain't gotta go to the
Hello?
gym today, Keisha. Like, just
Brace
lay back
yourself
in
right out of the
bed.
way. So
You
you got
too
to balance that with like
tired."
accountability. Oh, and something else I just thought about. Too much of anything is unhealthy,
Yes.
right? You don't want to be too much on either side of the spectrum. You want grace, you want accountability, and that's, you can apply that what I just said to pretty much anything in life. Too much of anything can be unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to hold yourself so accountable all the time to where you're just beating yourself down. Because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
The world is going to do enough of that.
Yes.
The world is going to beat us down enough, okay? We people of a certain complexion. I ain't even, that could be a whole other lie. You feel what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
We got to give ourselves grace, but we also have to balance that out with that accountability. Like,
Yes.
all right, you could have did that better.
Mm-hmm.
You are, Sam, you know better, but not to the point to where I'm beating myself down. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't need to do that. How we talk to ourselves to get through from one phase to the next. That's so, or one day to the one moment to the next. How are we talking to ourselves? What are you saying to yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to make sure we're being kind, because so many of us are so full of love, and we so really give love to any and everybody else, and we don't always feed ourselves the same love that we can so freely give out. So
Yeah.
we just need to make sure that we're filling ourselves with just as much love as we give to the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah, you got to pour back into yourself, because if you constantly pouring out and you're not allowing somebody to pour back into you, or you're not holding some of that for yourself, you're gonna be on empty. Okay, you need that. And you said something. I was like, man, that's so good. I don't remember. I don't remember. But hold on. Ooh, I have to pat my head. But yeah, so my next thing was that we could talk about was um your health journey.
Right?
And I know a lot of us like 30 and up, like we're just really starting to understand, and it's really starting to click to us how important our health is. I don't know if that comes with getting older, or
It
it's just
should.
one of those things. Yeah, it should. But
It
i
should.
i i love the movement um of us, specifically Black people too, um being serious about our health. And I know for me, my journey of 2 years, I've been really just going after that, like going after my health, going after the way I eat, and allowing the work that I do inward reflect what I give outwardly. And so, like, even for you, man, your journey of your health has been like magnificent to watch. And so if anybody know you,
Yeah.
like they've seen you journey through just becoming the best version of yourself to you. Okay, what that looks like to you. And
I
I
like how
think
you say
it's
that, to you.
to
I like
you.
that.
Okay, because that's also important.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
health to you, and what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
But could you just talk about, like, whatever you're willing to share, about what that journey looks like for you, as far as like what clicked for you, as far as like your health conscious, and yeah.
So, um, what I will say is that what clicked for me was just not wanting to be on a whole bunch of medications, right?
Okay.
I'd been over 300 pounds since I was probably in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I weigh less now than I did probably in middle school. I had been Big Sam my whole
Mm-hmm.
life. it would kind of actually get on my nerves because I'm like, why they got to put big in front of it? But
Right.
like looking back, I was Big Sam. So you know, I've come to terms with it. But yeah, prioritizing my wellness, Keisha. That's what I had to learn to do.
Mm.
Years and years, a year. I'm about to say years and years ago, like it was so long ago, but it was a minute ago, probably around the pandemic when the pandemic started, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was really just in the house. We had so much time to just be away from everybody else, outside of our will. We had to be, in which I don't mind because I don't be want to be around the folks all the time anyway.
Right.
So quarantine wasn't too, it wasn't too bad because people be all up in my anyway. What I had to learn to do was to prioritize it, and somebody made the comment to me that they said, Sam, if you put the same fire and energy and effort into your wellness and your diet and your health as you do your business,
Mm.
you can shake some things up. And that
Dang.
struck me, and that stuck with me.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I don't know how this is raw, but if something isn't getting done, you just need to reconsider the effort or the lack thereof that you're truly putting in. Going back to that accountability. If you have a goal and something isn't getting done, you need to just go back to the drawing board and be real with yourself and ask yourself, how much effort am I truly putting into this thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have to learn to prioritize my wellness, and thank God for my beautiful community and one of my best friends in the entire world. Shout out to Ellen McKnight Hill. Just so happens to have her own health and nutrition firm, the Maxine firm. I met with her. We went over a whole diet regimen. Now, not that I followed it then, but I eventually,
Mm-hmm.
I do things on time, but once I got it, I collected the data, I collected all the information. When once I made up my mind that, okay, Sam, we have to do this, right? Again, like you said, I can't build myself up and try to do all these things and become all these things and, you know, get this award and all of those things are nice. But if I'm like not happy and if I'm depressed and if I'm morbidly obese, like what's it all, what's it really worth? I just had to learn to prioritize my well-being. And that's really what it was, Keisha. That's really like I just had to learn to prioritize my wellness.
And so, what did that look like? Was that like, because I'm asking for myself? Because I know that, like for me, I'm prioritizing it in a way, but I can't give more. Um, so I'm always curious of how people deal with their mental, because I think that is the biggest obstacle as far as like prioritizing your wellness and your health, is the mental side of
Mm-hmm.
it and constantly showing up. So how did you navigate that?
I paced myself. I
Okay.
paced myself, right? I didn't just go cold turkey. I'm like, okay, Sam. And here's the thing: there are like, of course, there are so many tools and ways for people to lose weight out here now, and that's great. But also, even if you like use any tools to help you lose weight, there's just certain things you cannot circumvent.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking more water, eating more fruits and vegetables, moving your body, and those are things that I just was not doing.
Yeah.
Incorporate those things into my lifestyle and just simply being conscious about what I'm consuming. I think back now, I'm like, dang, I really just had no regard at one point in my life. Like I would just eat whatever.
Okay.
I wasn't looking at the labels, seeing how many grams of sugar was in it, eating honey, just becoming more conscious about what it was, because these are our temples, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if we're not taking care of ourselves, then what good are we going to be to the rest of the world or anybody else? Um,
No,
so
that's
yeah,
good.
I paced myself. I didn't cut everything. I didn't go cold turkey. I'm like, okay, all right. This week or this month, I'm gonna no sodas. Let's wean out sodas first, right? And there are so many great alternatives. I very very rarely drink like sodas.
Same. Mm-hmm.
And I love a Sprite. I love a Sprite. I love.
Mm-hmm.
I have an occasional Sprite, but there are so many like healthy alternatives to where like you really don't have to drink like sodas, or,
Mm-hmm.
cold. Like I love flavored water,
Mm-hmm.
and like 10 calories, and they have like the Hawaiian punch, what you can just put in your water. It's so many like finding healthy alternatives. It's like wow, like why did I not do this before? But I guess it wasn't the season.
Yep.
But again, just putting more concentrated effort into being intentional about what you're consuming, coming up like fitness, a wellness journey is not one size fits all. But again, there are just certain things that none of us can just circumvent or go around. And once
Mm-hmm.
we come to terms with what those things are, we just have to look at our own life and make it work. Make it
Yeah.
work. Make it
Yeah.
work because it's worth it.
Yeah. And I think that's so good because eventually it'll spill over into every
Yeah.
other aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to that discipline. And that's something I've been really working on is getting the discipline to do everything. And since I've started going to the gym consistently, I've seen how my work ethics has changed. I've seen how I've tried to show up at work on time. Okay. I've seen how I've tried to put different things in place, all because I simply begin to focus on my wellness. And like you say, you have to pace it and understand that it's you're not gonna be great at it up front. You're literally breaking
Right.
bad habits, years of bad
That's right.
habits. So
Un-
you're huh?
Unlearning, learning. Yeah.
Unlearning, relearning different things. So to think that that's going to happen overnight is crazy. So giving yourself, and pacing yourself is very important. I remember when I first started going to the gym, I told myself 15 minutes, Keisha. 15 minutes. Show up for myself for 15 minutes, and showing up for myself for 15 minutes literally put me to a place where I was showing up for myself 30 minutes, where I was beginning to be consistent in my own way, And so I think that's also important. And it'll begin to just spill over into every other aspect of your life. Once you get one thing down that you're like, okay, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's going to change your mind about everything else around you. So, with that being said, I think we did a great job of this live tonight. This is the finale season, and it's so crazy how, like I said, I wasn't gonna do it this year because I do it every month for my birthday. And it really has become an outlet for me to share my heart and my wisdom with people, because people just know me as a hairstylist, but there's so much more. That's what I do. That's not who I am. Like we talked about it first. And so who I am is a nurturer. Who I am is a person who like to make things grow and like to see people grow, and I like to assist, and help people, give advice. I'm a therapist, okay? But so that's my heart. And
Yeah.
so I'm really thankful that you was able to see that part of me. And I'm honored to have you on here to share, just different things about yourself that you don't have to share with nobody, but you chose to share it on a platform that I created. And I'm so thankful for you for doing that for me. And this has been very inspiring for me, just doing this to continue. It has awakening something in me. And I hope to continue to be consistent in it in whatever way that looks like for myself. So thank you for being a part of this, Sam. I appreciate you.
I'm so proud of you. And, one text, one call, one DM away. I'm always in full support of you as I have been for years. I'm so
Yes.
proud. And thank you for thinking, of me, to be a part of something that's so important and so
You're
special.
the king of optimism. I think I said the word right. You are the king of it. Okay, if I look it up in the dictionary, your name right there next to it. Right there,
I
Sam.
appreciate
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Most of all, I'm thankful for everybody who's tuned in for the last 4 weeks. Whether it was just today or you've been here all 4 days. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Until we meet again. Love y'all.
Thank y'all for joining.